Most of us have heard the phrase, always the bridesmaid, never the bride. And in sporting terms, so many athletes and teams always seem to be really good, but just not good enough for glory. Danny Pedrosa, Rubens Barrichello, the Seattle Mariners, and in robot combat terms, Firestorm, the greatest UK robot never to win a UK title. The builders, Graham Bone and Alex Mordew, started their Robot Wars tenures in Series 2 as builders of the robot Groundhog, a robot with quite possibly the worst ground clearance of any robot ever created, putting the alien and prize fighter to absolute shame. Naturally, they didn't get very far, but they did manage to cause Killalot to fall on his face, maybe an omen of what was yet to come for the team. Come Series 3, they returned with the first incarnation of Firestorm and immediately went to work in showing what the new bot could do, blitzing their heat and disposing of Crasher Nasher, Facet and Dietor. They continued their success with a close win against Pitbull and their biggest statement to date, a win against then reigning champions Panic Attack. But their run of form was bound to end soon, and it did with the completely impervious Chaos 2 performing the first ever Uta on the form machine. But with Stegosaurus being so damaged after its fight against Hypnodisc, it meant that Firestorm inherited third place for Series 3. A fantastic campaign and one that solidified Firestorm as a robot to watch. Firestorm's sophomore effort in Series 4 was not nearly as celebrated, with them narrowly winning a close fight against Bolt from the Blue, which the builder of is still upset about to this day, and winning a fight against the Morg that ended controversially, and could have gone Morg's way if the judges saw it differently. Their semi-final campaign ended essentially the way it was bound to end, with them losing their fight against the Kings of Consistency, Dominator 2. Ironically, in a fight that could have gone Firestorm's way if the judges saw it differently. Come Extreme in Series 5, Firestorm's third incarnation changed the robot from a good robot with varying results to one of the best in the entire field, and Graham Bone and Alex Mordew gaining a new member, Hazel Heslop, starting their Extreme campaign with an all-star semi-final appearance which ended in a defeat to Razor, no shame there, but a shocking elimination in the first round of the second World Championship where an underrated Drillzilla came up the victors meant that they ended up short of expectation. The question of expectation didn't apply in the UK Championship though, as they once again made their way to the Grand Final, where they once again lost to Razor in one of the greatest fights in Robot Wars history, and inherited a third place after their first fight with Hypnodisc ended with both of them in the pit, the judges calling for a rematch and Hypnodisc being unable to take part. Firestorm 4's Series 6 campaign was more of the same, but this time the improvements from Firestorm 3 were considerable, as they once again blitzed their way to a third place finish, losing to Tornado, but offsetted that with a win in the Extreme 2 Commonwealth Carnage competition, where they became the only robot to successfully flip over Mr. Psycho. And no, I'm not including that time it rolled over by itself. That's not a flip. Don't be dumb. And their final incarnation, rather aptly called Firestorm 5, made their way to the series semi-finals, losing out to Storm 2 in round 2, in a similar way that they lost their previous grand final fight to Tornado. And thus, their Robot Wars appearances, like essentially all robots in the classic era, came to an end. The next incarnation of Firestorm, Firestorm 6, was supposed to enter the 2004 FRA UK Championships, but due to the cancellation of the event, we never got to see what this version of Firestorm was going to look like. Firestorm would make occasional appearances in live scene events shortly after the cancellation of Robot Wars, but would not be seen for nearly 2 decades afterwards until their appearance in Extreme Robots Newcastle in 2024, where the robot, with Graham and Hazel, now Hazel Bone, attending, sat as a static display. In 2026, Firestorm would move under its power for the first time in over 20 years as it gave its first demo display at this year's Extreme Robots tour. Alex Mordew, who left the Firestorm team after Series 5, has cemented his own legacy as one of the UK's most decorated builders, building the Beetleweight robot Sore Loser, which has been competing consistently since 2018. Firestorm may not have had any main competition silverware, but its level of consistency, and being the last of the great front hinge flippers, gives it a very comfortable spot in the list of the greatest robots of all time. And we may never see a front hinge flipper get that level of success ever again as the meta veers further and further away from front hinge flippers come the inception of the rear hinge. Aesthetically beautiful too, there really isn't anything quite like Firestorm.